Recent events in California lead me to want to talk about the legality of the president using the military, either the active duty or National Guard, to enforce domestic laws in the United States. Having some information on that topic might be helpful, most notably since some of the comments I've seen state that military personnel should refuse such orders as illegal. As a former commissioned officer in the U.S. Army, we were trained in the importance of understanding what constituted a legal or illegal order, both from the standpoint of not issuing them ourselves or obeying them if given to us by a higher-ranking officer. It was specifically stated that we had not only the right, but the duty to disobey illegal orders. There are several legal issues involved in this situation. The first is that the President is, per Article 2, Section 2 of the U.S. Constitution, the Commander-in-Chief of the Army and Navy of the United States, and, that emphasis is mine, of the militia of the several states. As such, it is within the President's power to call up the National Guard, which is the organized militia of the several states per 10 U.S. Code, Section 313, for federal service. The second issue is a federal law known as the Posse Comitatus Act of 1878, which bars the use of the military for domestic law enforcement purposes. However, this law has several specific exceptions added to accommodate the Insurrection Act of 1807, which does permit the use of the military to protect federal property, quell civil disorder, insurrection, and rebellion. It also permits the President to federalize and use the National Guard, even over the objections of the state governor who is otherwise the commander-in-chief of the state National Guard units. A necessary precondition of invoking the Insurrection Act is an official presidential order for insurgents or insurrectionists to immediately disperse. There's a very notable precedent for this happening, that being the desegregation of the Central High School of Little Rock, Arkansas. Following the Supreme Court's ruling in Brown v. Board of Education requiring desegregation of public schools, Arkansas Governor Orville Faubus ordered the Arkansas National Guard to bar black students from entering Central High to preserve the peace. President Eisenhower issued an executive order demanding all persons obstructing justice, i.e. blocking the enforcement of the court's orders, to disperse. The next day, he federalized the entire Arkansas National Guard and ordered them to enforce the court order and to provide protection to black students, which was done, in addition to deploying the 101st Airborne Division. Other notable examples of the use of the military to quell civil disorder, protect federal property, etc., include the deployment of the 1st Marine and 7th U.S. Army Infantry Division to quell the Rodney King riots in L.A. in the early 1990s, and the deployment of the military after Hurricane Katrina in New Orleans. In summary, the President has the authority to use both the active duty military and federalized National Guard units to enforce domestic law under very limited circumstances. The only possible objection to military personnel, active duty or National Guard, is whether or not the President issued a directive to disperse per the Insurrection Act. While President Trump isn't a lawyer, I suspect he's got a few who could consult with, and that such an order has either been issued or is ready to be issued, should it be necessary. Any member of the armed forces who refuse to be deployed should such an order be issued is disobeying a lawful order and would probably be held to account as well. Additionally, any person saying that the deployment of the National Guard is illegal is simply wrong. And I hope that this clears up some of the misconceptions that I've seen having covered this story. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, I'd appreciate it if you'd like, share, comment, and subscribe. Thanks. Have a great day.